What's up, everybody? How are you? Happy Monday. This is Real Talk Chronicles. Yeah, I'm in a good mood, so we're going to jam tonight. I got my uncle with me tonight, baby. We're going to fade out on this one. Yeah, yeah. Hey, we got to love somebody today.
I love somebody every day.
That's it. You're right. What's up, everybody? It's Bill Forster. I'm your host, and I got my uncle with me today. And let me tell you something. We are looking forward. I am looking forward to this conversation today, and we will have a lot of fun. Trust me when I tell you that. Uh, for those who know my uncle, he is not shy about what he will say. So this is what we're going to be doing tonight. And first and foremost, I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I hope your Monday's going good. Please keep the energy positive. Still, we have a pandemic out here. Hey, Steph. What's up, Dee Dee? How are you? Uncle Willie in the house. Exactly. I would love to join you for a chat. Absolutely, Dee. Shout out to everybody's in the building. Yeah, time to spill some tea. Exactly. We're going to spill some tea, y'all. First, how you doing?
Listen, if it get any better, I think it's a setup. I'm doing great.
Absolutely. Everybody, y'all know the rules. This is Real Talk Chronicles. If you're watching from YouTube, subscribe, like it. If you're watching from Facebook, share it, because Uncle's going to drop some jewels. What's up, Yolanda? What's up, Hollister in the building? Of course, I always shout you all out. And first and foremost, for you those that know that don't know, my uncle is very, very intelligent man, and he's been around the civil rights. He has a plethora of knowledge of so many different things on politics and religion and so many different things. And we'll try to touch all these topics tonight. So if y'all have some questions, this segment of Real Talk, Ask Willie Walker. This is what it's going to be tonight, man. You brought in the big guns. Yeah, God bless. Mark is in the building. So please, like you said, go to my page and look for it and mute it and then share it so everybody can see it. So you'll be able to see the questions. I'll read them off to you first and of course. So everybody, if you have questions for Uncle when we start chopping it up, let me know. What's up, Yolanda? I see you in the building.
Yes.
We're gonna go right into it first and foremost.
Let's go into it.
Let's
get it.
We have a governor right now.
You do.
That is on the hot seat. He had so many different allegations. Now they're talking about, he did things with his family.
Mm-hmm.
He had his family jump the lines, VIP things for his family and friends or whatever. So what do you think about the allegations and things that are going on of the governor Cuomo?
I think they're real, and I think he's been in office too long. Some people talked to me and said, why all the women are talking now, right? They only needed one woman to talk about it, and then everybody else decided, I need to tell what my experience is. And today I saw the news that they got him actually kissing a woman, and she said it was unwarranted. It was a surprise to her when he kissed her. I mean, really kissed her. So the allegations are being seen seem to bear out itself that it is really happening. So I think people should have their day in court to speak about what they feel and what they don't feel. When you're in authority, Bill, the last thing that you should do is to people that report to you, right, be inappropriate with them. And that's what the people are saying now. He had an authority over them, and he was very inappropriate with them. Right, and right. It wasn't warranted, So people are saying that, and when you. And let's get back to the vaccine. The vaccine, they said back in March last year, he made sure his brother and his family got the vaccine last year, right after his brother had the virus. So yeah. I think it's a lot of things. When you get powerful, you think you can sweep under the rug, but it doesn't. The dust always fly up again.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, there's a fine line between flirting and making some people feel inferior or pressured to uh, do certain things. Like, so we definitely, in your opinion, you don't think this was about flirting and this is just going haywire. This is just about somebody utilizing their power to abuse people, correct?
Absolutely. Bill, where I worked before, I had gotten a lot of shots from a lot of women, and no one could ever say that we dated. I dated them. I went out to lunch with them. It's inappropriate behavior when you are responsible for people and you have their power over people. It's not to say that you can't go out and enjoy yourself, right? I'm a single man. I was able to do it if I wanted to, but I thought it would present a problem if I had done that. So I chose not to. If he chose to do this and people are saying that it was unwarranted, that's a different thing. He's a single man. If he did it and people was all right with it, it's fine. But if they wasn't all right with it, it's not fine.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it seems like it ain't fine. It wasn't fine because nobody is saying that.
Bill, every day somebody is telling about their experience. It's a sad thing because now that the pressure is on him, what do? He come to a black community for support. In his whole administration, he only have whites. He don't have any high-ranking blacks in his administration. But this is where he ran into when he needed support and he needed people to stand up for him. We always do that.
What did you feel about that? Like all of a sudden, it's like the black politicians like stood behind him, and like, what did you feel about that? Like,
I feel like they should have stood in front of him when he didn't have any blacks in his administration. Nobody held him accountable. And when this happened now, he feel like he's coming to people that he says. He's coming to get his vaccine here in Harlem, he says, right? Why? Because you can't get it in Albany now because your own white people are against you.
Yeah.
This was going on before the pandemic. People were saying that they didn't want him before the pandemic. And then he get on television every day and he speak every day. And the only thing he does is read what people put in front of him, and they think he's the greatest governor in the world.
You say he reads what people put in front of him.
That's what he did. He didn't do what Trump did. Trump wanted to speak for himself, and he always screwed it up. He spoke and talked about what was given him to say. And what was given him to say, people great.
So funny. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, I mean, we have a new president, and we're not going to stay too long on the past one. But what did you think about January 6th? And what did you think about how he ran his administration?
Well, he's a thug. He's a thug, and he wanted to be the godfather of the world, right? And the things that he did and the things that he said was very inappropriate. And I know people are going to look at this and they're going to like him and they're going to hate me for saying it, but I really don't give a damn. He was a thug, right? Mm-hmm. And everything that he did was self-serving. And the people that followed him, I didn't believe that people could be so naive. They weren't naive, right? They listened to the evilness of this man and joined in with it. They became a part of it. And they liked it, and they still a part of it.
What's so funny? There's a difference between maybe being a Republican. Like, elaborate on that. There's a difference between being a Republican and being a Trump supporter. Like, we talked about that, how a person, sometimes they're going to stay with their party lines. But, like, just give me your take on that.
Well, a Republican is like a Democrat. You go party line. But if your leaders, right, are so out of form, if your leaders are doing things that are evil, if your leaders are doing things that are corrupt, then it's time for you not to change your party, but change your leader.
Right.
I would never follow a man. I would never follow a man that lied and tell me that I have to sanction that.
Right.
He would lie
Right.
openly and say, and people would say he didn't say it. Like he would lie and say I didn't say it. So you show it on the side that you're saying it. He said I didn't say it, and you know what? The people that follow him say he didn't say it. So it says to me, it says a lot about the mentality of not the Republican Party, but the people that follow Trump and willing to lie, cheat, and steal for him.
You know what's so funny? Yo, you know what's so funny? That we saw people blatantly defend him, and he, like you said, he just straight out lied, and people was like, "No, he didn't say that." But wait a minute, and then tell me what you thought about January the 6th. That was, from a law enforcement standpoint, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. There was no such thing anymore about Blue Lives Matter, because those officers, I've always said there isn't any equality, but officers saw themselves. And probably, a lot of times they believed in what people were doing. So there's a certain kind of, like, I can't be mean to this person when I deep down inside I agree with them. You know what I'm saying? Right. But just tell me what you thought about the fact that they tried to take over the place.
He was still in charge.
Right.
He was still in charge. He was in charge of everything still at that time. They was just certifying the election and saying, yes, that it was honest, it was true, and Biden had won the presidency. He had won the election, right? So Trump was still in charge at that time. So he said to people, right, I'm inviting you to my house. But that wasn't his house. That's the house of the people. And people felt like it's all right for me to come because he's invited me. And that's the terms that they use. He invited me to his home, so it was all right for me to come, right? He incited a riot. He incited to the point that people got killed. Property was destroyed. And he shouldn't be able to get away with that. No one else can get away with that.
And you know what's so funny? They impeached him twice. But in his mind, he's going to run again in 2024.
The Republicans had to vote for him not to be able to run again, and they didn't. They still cowered out, right? For whatever reason, and I think it's greed. They cowered out, and they didn't vote when he couldn't run again. You know what? I think if he tried to run again, even the good Republicans are not going to support him.
Well, we hope so, because the bottom line is they should have definitely voted him out. Shout out to everybody that's chiming in. You got the whole crew. You got Musa in the building, Crystal, my man JC, Anna is in the building, Audrey. What's up, everybody? More Joy is definitely in. Michelle Lee. Shout out to everybody. Collins is in the building. Delcina. Shout out to everybody chiming in. We got the Block Radio is in the building. We see you all. Listen, if y'all got some questions for yo, this is the time, because he gonna drop it. He don't care, because he lived long enough to say what he want to say. I got his back, and he don't need me to have his back, because he gonna say it anyway. So what's so funny? JC said, yeah, they still think the same. I hear the BS from my coworkers every day. Crystal said, yo, folks ain't ready for to lay it down. Exactly, but he gonna get it tonight. This is the real talk. We gonna throw it down. Musa said, what's up, everybody? Give it to them, Exactly. That's what we're gonna do. Michael Dean is in the building. Hey, got 78 million people riding with him. Trump is a force. Yeah, Mike, he is a force, and that's a scary force. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was a 74 million, and we won by 78.
And the point is that people voted party line. They didn't vote because they necessarily believe in Trump or like Trump. They voted party line. And a lot of people didn't vote for party line. What they did, and what the press did is that they talked about some blacks supported him, right? But what they didn't report is that 65% of white women supported him. Let's talk about that.
Talk about it. Break it down. Go ahead.
65% of white women voted for Donald Trump, which means what he said about women, what he said and how bad he was about women didn't matter to them, because they're definitely.
what was he? He called the suburban housewives. He was talking about, right? He didn't have a
Absolutely.
problem with it.
65% of them voted for him.
Right.
You know what? We sometimes think women are different from men, or white women are different from white men. It's in the household. It's no difference. It's no different. That's a part of the household. And if it's evil with the men, who do you think is sanctioning that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Because
I tell you, I would
think
never.
about it. If they're really suburban housewives, they might not be working. So
That's
the
right.
husband is taking care of them.
So
So
they're
they're not
not
going to go against that.
right. They're not running the house. You know
Right.
what,
Right.
Bill?
Right.
I would not be able to let a man make me lie and agree with him for lying and come home and look at my wife and kids.
Right. Right.
I'm too much of a man to do that.
Right. Right.
And these men allowed that to happen, and they have to come home and look at their family, which means that they have no credibility whatsoever, right? And what they do and what he did and what he said was all right with them because they're a lot like him. It's no difference. And I'm not angry.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's just crazy where how racial tensions have almost come. We have the Karens, but racial tensions have been so high. Like, what do you think about what he did? How he just brought racial tensions to the forefront because it was always embedded inside of them. So, I mean, elaborate on that.
Well, he is who he is, right? And when you know what, a lot of things that should have happened as far as the law is concerned, a lot of things should have been stopped as far as the law is concerned. He agreed with what was happening, no matter how egregious it was. He agreed with it. He allowed it to happen. At some point in time, racial tension had to explode. And what it is it's just what life is about. What he brought to this nation by not doing anything. People are saying today they was able to see themselves in what the black plight was about. I have people, people say, "Well, I understand how you feel." No, you don't. If you're not black, you don't know how a black person feels. You don't know what that experience is, right? So I couldn't tell a white person I know how you feel. You know why? Because they have white privilege. They wake up in the morning time and they're white with a privilege. I wake up in the morning time and I'm black and I have to prove myself every time I go out the house. Everything that I do, I have to prove my house. Every place I go, I have to prove my house. If I could afford to be in a place, I still have to prove myself simply because of my color.
Yeah.
So they have a privilege that we don't have. And you know what happened with that bill? And let me tell you what some of the anger is about. You have white people that have had privilege all their life. And when you see a black person doing as well as you are, and even better than you are, it angers them because how can you be where you are? And I had privilege all my life and I can't have that. Yeah. So you're not supposed to have that. You're not supposed to do well, right? And when people see me do well, they know how I feel. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with saying how I feel.
Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, and I got my uncle in the building. This is in this segment of Real Talk. This is Ask Willie Walker. I see my people in the building. Chuck Richards is in the house. He said, "OG Willie in the house." Exactly. James McKnight, Vanessa and James are in the building. Musa, he's shouting out Mike Dean. He said, "Good point." He said, "I think they voted race lines." Yeah. Pinky's in the house. What's up, cuz? Musa said, "Keep preaching on that part." Stephanie said, "Yep, white women love Trump. They do." Crystal said, "White women vote the way their husbands largely." Absolutely. James Knight said, "Especially evangelist Christian white women." Yeah, man. Mike Dean said, "If you're black, racial tensions have always been high." Yeah, that's true. They always been high. You know what I'm saying, Mike? But like right now, and let me tell you something. I can speak from a law enforcement standpoint. I always said this when OJ was free. I always said it was going to be real tough for people of color when they get pulled over and stopped. Like, you're going to get that ticket. That warning admonish is going to be gone. I told people that when Trump started spewing what he said, law enforcement is going to treat you very differently. We also now, we're going to talk about certain changes in the laws in New York City too. But people always said there isn't equality. Now we're seeing more and more that people, like, we're finding the sheets. We're finding that people are who they are, and it's coming out in law enforcement. Mark said, he said, don't forget the military and police. Shocking how so many law enforcement types are active military, still support all and everything he does. Sad. Exactly. Audrey said, if you will lie, you will cheat. If you cheat, you will steal. If you steal, you will kill. Absolutely.
And you would stink.
Yeah, exactly. Christina said, "Hey, what's up?" And myself on the block radio said, "Do you believe that black women stand up for white women's issues, but they do not stand up for black women's issues?" Using the same example of Trump speaking about women's vagina parts, and have let's say Sandra Bland. Yeah, what you think about that?
Black women need to understand white women are not their friend. Okay, it's still the same thing. It's still white. It's not their friend. Bill, it's a trend today. Let me tell you what this trend is, right? When you look at television today, what do you see?
I wanted you to go there. I wanted you to go there. Exactly, go there.
You see a white man with a black woman and black kids, right? Because they're telling black women that you can have a family with a white man. A white man gonna be in your home because they always say a black man is not. That's a lie, right? But what you see is a white man with a black child and a black wife, but you don't see the black man with a white woman and a white child and a black child, white and black child. You don't see that, right? And what they're saying to white men, it's all right to have a black woman now. And what they say to black women, it's all right to have a white man, right? You know why they want a white man and why a white man want a black woman today? Because the most educated person in this country today is the black woman. We've always known that they was queens. He wanted because that would benefit him in his life and his lifestyle. You know, because the white woman want to sit home and print. The black woman would work, and she's always done that. She's always been the head of the house in a way. And even when they tried to destroy the family, the black woman has always been there. And she will always been there. We black men need to understand that we have a job to do. And our job is to honor our women and take care of them. And we are not doing a very good job of that.
Right. And why do you think that is, you know, not to deviate too much, but, you know, everybody out there, you know, with Real Talk, we flow back and forth. There's no topic. We just get with it. It is what it is. If you, listen, I tell you, everybody, you already know, you know, I keep it real, but that's the realer. You know what I'm saying? That's the realest for me. And, you know, this was the day where I said, let's kick it and we're going to bring it out. He said, hold on, let me read. Honore said, okay. Christina said, good to see you. Definitely. Mike Dean said, that's Willie, a.k.a. Willie Dynamite. Exactly. Billy Counter, what's up, brother, in the building? Chantel, what's going on? How are you? Everybody, yes. Everybody's talking about preach. So, you know, this is Real Talk Chronicles, y'all. If y'all like it, subscribe to it, share it. Let everybody know what we do, man.
We all understand divide and conquer, right? The way to conquer the black family is to get rid of the black man, and white man have done that as long as you could remember. That was a time when times were really bad and people need assistance. White people got assistance with the man in the house. Not only did they get assistance, they got their mortgage paid with the man in the house. But for a black family, they used to come around, and if you had black men clothes in your house, you were going to be off welfare. Right. So the point was to just take the black man out of the house, right, and the family fall, and that was the plan. But black people are strong, man. You know, if you're black in this country today, you're part of the strongest people that ever lived because we've made it this far. Yeah. So they took the black man out of the house, but they didn't destroy the family because we still do that.
Yeah, it's almost like a la Claudine. Remember, you know, when the welfare lady was coming and she had to hide the things James Earl Jones bought her. For those, I may be dating myself.
That was real. No, they still play Claudine. That was real.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, you know. But the thing is, you know, she had to hide the toaster, had to hide the iron, things like that.
Just about a man.
Yep. So, you know, it's always been about dividing, conquering the situation. That's real sad that situation is happening. Derek, what's up, Derek? He said these commercials are always shows white men with sisters. Exactly, Derek. And you know what's so funny? The people that are probably the powers that be are saying, well, wait a minute, we're showing interracial relationships, but you know what's so funny? You're showing more the white man with the black woman when we know it's always been the stereotype has always been why is the black man with the white woman? Yeah. It's not always with the white man with the black woman. We don't hear that much.
Well, there's double messages. The message is for the white man. Now it's all right to have a black woman. Listen right. to me. Listen. All right. So let me tell you something, right? The white man has never wanted to approach a black woman because he felt inferior sexually about his parts, right? Right. So what the white man does, right? He invented a pill to make his penis bigger, right? Then he invented another pill, to make it harder. So the point is that was his focus. Now white men feel like I took this pill and I'm bigger. I could approach a black woman, not only for her education and her intuition and her strength to make a family work, but for all of these other reasons that white men have put into place to make themselves equal to what they feel a black man is.
Right.
So you may not like what I'm saying, but that's okay. I have to say because this is
I mean, listen, it's real talk, and everybody knows this. Real talk. You say what you feel. You know what I'm saying? If you're man enough or woman enough to say what you feel, you back it up. That's what it is. You bring your facts to the table. The bottom line is, we're not talking about don't date out your race. For those that really do love each other, that's a beautiful thing. Yes. But right now, we're just talking about how this world has been put and put on blast, and how things are about divide and conquer, and how black men are still being shown to be inferior to our white counterparts, which is totally unfair until we start making our own commercials and doing things like that. But we don't get along like that. We still talking about other stuff, and we like ratchet shit. So it is what it is. Crystal said, "White men with sisters is a manifestation of every present obsession with us. Nothing new." Exactly. Mike Dean said, "We really have to stop falling for the same tricks presented differently." Exactly. Holly, kaboom. Derek said, "Y'all about to get put in Facebook jail." Yeah. Listen, that's why it's on YouTube too, Derek. That's the beautiful thing about having a podcast. If they shut me down here on Facebook Live, then I'm on YouTube. So everybody subscribe to me on YouTube. So that's a good thing. You're right. It is what it is, man.
But what did we say that wasn't true? What have we said that wasn't true? No.
He just saying, but exactly, because the powers that be still own the business. That's all I think Derek is saying. But Derek, it is what it is. And it's okay, because the bottom line is, I think anybody that speaks out, that has spoken out, you're always going to get the darts and the bullets shot at you or thrown at you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get the darts thrown at you, the arrows. It's been my career. I'm sure Uncle's always, let me tell you something, man, wear African garbs all his life. He going to get the bullet. Everybody going to hate him and dislike him for some reason, because what's so funny, what you see is how you judge me. You understand what I'm saying? It's just like a darker skinned person, people are scared of for a reason. It's just crazy. We as people still have to do better for ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a beautiful thing. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host. I got my uncle in the building, everybody. I got Willie Walker in the building, man. Affectionately known as Uncle Willie, because that's what I call him. Well, he's my uncle, and you all call him Uncle Willie anyway, so that's a beautiful. Like Mark says, Dr. Francis Crest Westling. Stephanie, she said, "How does Uncle Willie feel about this new twerking culture?" What do you think about that?
Yeah. Listen. You know what I do? You can't turn on Instagram without somebody shaking their ass. You know what, Bill? The point is that we all know that people are dancing, and that's fine, right? But you can't go on Instagram or Facebook 2 seconds without somebody shaking their ass. If that's the way you want to present yourself, that's fine, right? If this is what make you feel good, I'm not against it. I'm just saying you can't do anything without seeing it. It's in your face.
Hey, but listen, we're gonna go back to the origin of Real Talk. Listen, if you sitting there twerking and shaking your ass, don't sit here and try to tell me why you can't find a man to take you serious.
That's right. That's right. Well, you shaking your ass. Listen, everybody don't shake their ass, right?
No, we totally agree with that. Yeah.
Right. And everybody don't grind. Everybody don't do certain things, right? But when you do, that's a category that people put you in. I didn't put you in that category, but the majority of the people put you in that category, right?
And also,
so if you're in the category and you're honest about it, hey, what you gonna do? Fight against it? I'm not fighting against anything that I do and enjoy, right? If I do
exactly.
it and enjoy,
and if you're gonna do it, like you said, be wrong and strong, or just be proud to do what it is. It's just like in lieu of men, if you over 2 and you wearing your pants off your ass, then shame on you, man. You know what I'm saying?
And if you don't know why you're wearing your pants there, right? People are wearing their pants there and don't know why, right? I saw a guy with skid marks in his shorts. He can't even wash his ass. He wearing his pants down by his knees. Man, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Right? But then, yeah, I mean, the thing is, you wear your pants that way, and you want to be respected. You know what's so funny? Let me ask you a question. And I'm gonna follow some of the other questions real quick. How much do you think music has changed the ideology what people see, like Ratchet TV? And first and foremost, let me say, I personally shout out anybody of color getting paid, but what you're portraying sometimes will come back to backfire on you. Now it's just like rap music in the past, talked about killing and violence and stuff like that, and some people. And I'm not talking about just black people. I'm sure, I'm talking about people that follows music, Guns and Roses. I mean, I'm just using Guns and Roses. Just how music can kind of control your mind in a certain degree. How much do you feel that people are trying to emulate what they've seen? And you see a rapper walking around with his butt hanging off, but he may be, or somebody in business, he may be worth 30 million. So they're going to entertain him because he's a product, he's a brand.
Mm-hmm.
You young kids out here are not a brand,
right?
You're not even respected,
right?
And then you want to understand why you can't get the respect that you see Mudbone get on TV or whomever. What do you think about that?
Well, it's not about respect for them. Right. They don't know anything about respect. What they know is what they see, and what they see, they like emulating. Right. So this is like with music. People emulate what they hear, right? And it become a part of that culture. So when you see young men in the street now with their pants all the way down, they don't even understand where it came from or why they're doing it. They don't understand that it actually came from jail. It actually came from, once you go to jail, you have no belt. You have nothing to hold your shit up. And if it go down, it go down, right? but I'm just saying now it is, and it's true.
No, you facts.
So you don't even have shoestrings that you could actually tie up to keep your pants up. So the pants went down, and the guys came out of jail as it is a fashion. Absolutely. So they made it a fashion in our community, and the average person doesn't even know what it's about.
They really don't. Let me read what James McKnight said. Teach our children there is no shame in hard work and there are no fast dollars. Get vocations so we can take care of yourself and your family. Don't allow anyone else to teach and raise your children. Vanessa and James. Hey, what's up, Alex? Corner Social in the building. We love you, Alex. What's going on, Audrey? I can't stand it. Let me just say this. Let's talk about the fact that they don't have schools out there anymore like doing training, right? Like you used to be able to do a trade, like they had schools, art, design. I mean, vocational engineering or printing.
They had workshop. They had teller. They had woodwork. They had those. Well, Bill, they're still out there. But here's where they are. They gave it another name. It's not shop anymore. It's called BOCE. And the BOCE schools upstate have vocational schools. They have workshop, and they have electrical and mechanic. And let me tell you what happened. They don't have it in our community. Is that if a guy is in high school and he learned electrical work, he learned to be a plumber, he learned woodwork to be a carpenter, right? He could get out of high school and support his family. White kids are doing that, and they're getting it from upstate. They just don't have it here where we are.
Yeah, because let me tell you something. Almost everybody I've worked with, they have some kind of secondhand trade, either i.e. carpentry, plumbing, electrician. I remember when I tried to get into the electrical union, they was like, "Oh my God!" There was one black guy in there. It was like he was like the golden child.
Right.
Mike Dean said it's only fashion. Fashion changes. Previous generations usually dislike newer a generation changes. But Mike, let me just say this. Mike, we grew up in a generation where every artist that we saw had suits on. You know what I'm saying? From the Temptations, because that's our era that we watched, even down to New Edition, even Bobby Brown and all those. They wore suits and slacks. And then after a while, you started seeing the generation, the artists change into jeans and stuff like that. Even Puffy was one person that he would dress up thugs, the Locks and Biggie and everybody. So I get what you're saying, but right now it's like look at like and no disrespect to Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, not Nicki Minaj, was it Megan Thee Stallion, whoever these are, I forget their names, and no disrespect, but when they were on the award show, they were twerking. Like, use your talents. You don't have to twerk. Your body. Like I said, I applaud everybody getting that money, get that bag, and reinvent yourself. What you did to get that money, and invest it and do what you got to do, flip it to become. Because if you look at the real businessmen or the rappers that are really businessmen, they're not rapping anymore. The Jays, the 50 Cents, the Diddy's, whomever, like even Fat Joe's, like these people are flipping their money, putting it in places and buying property. Even Rick Ross talking about he got a bunch of restaurants. Derek said, I always thought women had the power to change that. If women, young ladies, didn't get what cats sporting pants off their asses, dudes wouldn't stop. Derek, I totally agree with you. Think about it, everybody. Remember when guys used to be like pss, 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 and light skin and dark skin and all that when women walked down the street? I always said a knucklehead, if he did it 100 times, if a woman, or 50 times, if a woman did it on the 50th time, he would never stop doing it because she replied to it. So shame on Derek. You are totally right. I agree with you. Totally right. Women control the key to how they're being treated. So you ladies, talk to these young girls, because I mean I would love to do it too. Audrey said, "No, what? Nobody my age better not." Listen, Audrey. Real talk. There's some guys out here, our age, still would try to wear their pants hanging off their butt a little bit, and there are some women our age that still is singing that ratchet shit. Now, it's one thing to sing it with somebody your age, you know what I'm saying, in the car, or when you at a certain party, maybe where it's a grown folks, and you can dress up a little, drop it like it's hot. But if somebody older than 40, damn near older than 30 is doing stuff, please, you lost me. Gary's in the building. Trade schools, absolutely. Mike Dean said these kids who parents dress them like crisscross. Exactly. Keith Armstrong in the building. What's up, brother? And when we went out, we wore suits and still do. Exactly, Keith. A woman wouldn't talk to you back in the day if a man was looking like a bum. Exactly. Now the bum is the new look. You know what I'm saying? The bum is the new book. Listen, be bagging women in sweats and sneakers now. You don't have to dress up. Well, and this is before the pandemic. Now the outfit of the day is sweats. So that's what we do. But everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles, and I want y'all to all know, if you like what you hear, I got Uncle Willie in the house. I brought Uncle Willie to y'all tonight, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all asked about him, so y'all got him tonight. So enjoy him, ask him. This is Real Talk. Christina said, I see parents of children come to the school with their pants hanging and hats on backwards. Unacceptable. Let me tell you something. Sharon said, some of the parents are no different than their kids. some of the parents are still kids. Absolutely, Sharon. So if y'all got questions for Unc, I got him in here tonight. So please share some love, so some thumbs up, some claps, some hearts. Maxine's in the building. She said, "Hey, Unc, shout out to everybody that's chiming in. Appreciate you. Yeah, give Unc some love." Exactly. Unc, let me ask you. There's so much right now. New York seems like it's a melting pot of violence. Um, a lot of people talking about reform and defunding and things of that magnitude. We'll even talk about the mayor in a minute. What's your take on defunding and reforming?
Well, I think, the city council is writing a lot of laws and making a lot of rules. And a lot of the people on city council are very young, know very little about the law itself. They just got elected, right? There's some real problems that we have here in the city, right? And one of the problems that we always had white men in control of the law and in control of NYPD. And it's changing today under this new commissioner, where we have 3-4 of the high executive chiefs today are blacks, right? And that's in order to bring a new reform by as to how people should be treated. You could write it, you could put it on the books. We've all had things on the books, but if you don't put it into practice, it doesn't work. So these people are there to put that into practice. How you should act, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. It's an authority thing. When you're a policeman, you got authority. You wear a uniform, you have authority. You have a gun, you have authority. You have a badge, you have authority, right? And you know what that authority is? It says that I can beat you up and you can't hit me back. White men love that, right? So they thrive on that. And this is what they do. They beat black men. They find the biggest black man they can find to knock him around because he can't hit him back. And if you hit him back, you shoot him, right? So that's what the police is about. And I don't mean just here in New York. I mean worldwide. Until that attitude change, that because you're a cop, you don't have the right to do this. Cops on the books today, there are as many rights for citizens as what citizen can and can't do. Cops have the same rights that they can and cannot do certain things, and nobody hold them accountable to it.
What would you do? Like, I know I've talked about, I think it definitely needs to be more training for law enforcement to give hand-to-hand combat. Excuse me, hand-to-hand combat. I think, we could talk about sensitivity training. We could talk about a lot of things, but it's embedded in the person that has been raised. We are who we are, and I think until people teach their children how to love one another, because we all know that hate is taught. It's not, you're not brought up talking about, oh, I hate you, I hate white person, I hate a black person. We're not brought up like that. We're brought up like that. It's not embedded in us from the birth where, we ask for a Bible and a SWAT sticker. It's not like that. So people got to get out that mindset. But the thing is, from what I've seen and the people that I've worked with and the ideology that they have, it's totally, if you're not cop, you're wrong. And I've made it my duty to change that thought process. And I know you definitely have put a lot of things in motion and sit down with a lot of powerful people, or you're the power person too a lot, because they come to you and talk to you about what things should be done. So, it's just sad that I don't know what would be some things that you would try to change. Hold on, let me just read some of the comments. Carla said, "What's up, Uncle Willie?" Crystal said, "RE Pan style. It can be our responsibility to change, man. Plus, don't forget we get accused of trying to change y'all and get called all out our names." Oh, shut. We might have to go back to this thing. Let's see. And she said, I'm gonna start this from the beginning. Crystal's in the building. She said, "RE Pan style. It can't be our responsibility to change men. Because plus, don't forget, we get accused of trying to change y'all and get called all out our names. Twerking, it's not a new dance move, and while you're not going to see me on stage doing it, judging them as if there isn't a whole lot of men who encourage the behavior is hypocritical. Let's not forget who is making it rain in the strip clubs. Okay, now we're gonna have to go there with you, Chris.
Well,
Um,
uh,
First,
I don't,
we're gonna take this in parts,
right.
and we're gonna get to everybody else. Okay, she said, okay, it can't be our responsibility to change men. Why you feel that you really? I mean, well, you did write it, so I guess you do feel it. Plus, don't forget we get accused of trying to change y'all and get called all out our name. Well, Crystal, if somebody's calling you out your name, then you definitely need to not f with him. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, people change people. Like, and when you're in a relationship, it is easy to change people. And when I say change, let's use the word upgrade. If Malika doesn't upgrade me, then why would I be with her? And vice versa. If you're dating somebody and you're not trying to better them, then don't be with them. I'm sure you know that already, but I'm just saying to say that you we get called out. You get called out your name. Let me tell you something. Only a weak man is not going to take change. You know what I'm or take advice. You know what I'm saying? And I personally say that a weak man, if you can't tell a man, let me tell you something. I'll ask my wife, what do you think? Should I wear this? Should I wear that? Let me tell you something. She'll do it to me. That's when I think you feel like there's respect. I mean, what do you think about that, Unc?
If you want to be unhappy and you want to be sad, try to change somebody. You can't change anybody. First of all, it's not your responsibility when you deal with somebody. If you're dealing with somebody that's not what you want when you get with them, don't get with them. I said to you before, I'm not about building nigga workshop. I'm no longer going to ever deal with a woman that I don't feel like on a level that I want her to be on. I don't want to change her. If she's on the level that I like, then we could deal. If she's not on that level, I don't want to deal with it. And I think everybody should be that way. We so often deal with people that we feel like not on the level that we're on in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but we're going to get with them and we're going to change them to that level. I'm going to make her feel the way I want her to feel, do the things I want her to do, and act the way I want her to act. Bullshit, you're going to be unhappy, right? So my thing is, why don't I look for somebody that got the attitude that I like? Listen, why would I wait for a woman 35 or 40 years old waiting to get her shit together? If she haven't done it up to that point, she's not going to get it together, and I'm not going to make a change, right? And it's the same way about men. If a man 40 years old, and she waiting for him to get his shit together, he's never going to get it together.
Right? Talk about he's still going to get it.
He's still and you know what she's doing? She's buying his clothes, she's paying his rent, she's getting his food and shit, and say he's going to get it, because he got that rap career that he's going to do. Never. It's not going to happen. So we should stop that. I'm going to change her. You're never going to do that. Or I'm going to change him. You're never going to do that. So why don't we just look for people in the position that we like and start from there? Right. You and Malika didn't look at somebody that you had to bring up, right? You all are already up. So what y'all do now is that you're already here, so you go up together. Right?
Absolutely.
But if we are here and we start now talking about we're gonna get it together, it's never gonna happen.
Yo, everybody, this is Real Talk. This is Real Talk Chronicles. My uncle and I, we cutting up. You know what I'm saying? We glad you with us.
People don't understand, Bill. We don't have to be on Real Talk. We could be sitting on the stoop somewhere, and this is what we do.
And I tell him, I said, we got to bring this in. I might have to bring him in once a month, y'all. What y'all think? Give me some thumbs up and some likes. Then also she said twerking. It's not a new dance move. And while you're not going to see me on the stage doing it, judging them as if there isn't a whole lot of men who encourage their behavior is hypocritical. Well, let me tell you something. I was never a strip club person, Chris. And I'm just only speaking for me. I don't know what anybody else out here in the audience is likes it or not. But you are totally right. But you know what? I also know that women go to strip clubs with their men and they get lap dances too. So they putting dollars in the girls' G-string, and I don't want to hear about they talking about they supporting black business, because you know what I'm saying.
But you know, if certain men didn't like that, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen if certain men didn't like it. You know, and you know what, Bill? That's not bad because it's good for somebody. I'm not about to stop people from doing what they feel comfortable with and what they like doing. So I don't have an opinion about whether you should or you shouldn't. I have an opinion about what I feel. I can only talk about what I feel. But I can only
talk about the woman I'm dating or I want to see. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I'm not telling her what she should or shouldn't do. Right? If I don't want to see a twerk, I see it on Instagram. I just turn from it. I don't look at it. Right? Because to me, it doesn't say anything. It's not sexy. It's not something I want to inspire to get.
And then for some of you out there, probably not my listeners, but you know my audience, but for those out there that if you're out there and you show a twerking video and you don't get a lot of likes or loves on your post, then maybe you know why. Maybe you shouldn't stop twerking and doing shit. You know, Stephanie said, I fear that this summer will be a deadly summer. It's already starting in Brooklyn. It's so scary. Yeah, you know what's so funny? We'll jump back to that. What do you think about what they always say about you know, Democrats are soft on crime. Republicans are hard on crime, which you know, for the most part, from my law enforcement standpoint, I do see that. I don't say I know, and I'm going on record and say this. I remember with the Giuliani administration, he took Dinkins' plans and just put his name on it. So the only thing that he was really hard on a lot of times was the quality of life, and he did that because he gave a cop zeros, and he let them get overtime, arresting panhandlers and stuff like that, and that's facts. And I dare anybody to question that or challenge that. So the bottom line is, but you know, what do you think about the mayor and him reforming the reform bill in the sense where, you know, they was just letting hardened criminals out of jail and things of that magnitude? What's your thought process on that?
Right. Well, you start off first about Democrats and Republicans, right?
Yes.
And what you said was Republicans are more hard on crime and Democrats are soft on crime, right? It's a reason for that.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Look at the majority of the people that are Republicans. They're white. They got privilege. So hard on crime doesn't mean hard on crime for them, right? The majority of the Democrats are black. Hard on crime means suffering. That's what we get. So it's a real reason for this happening, right? So white people that are Republicans, no, they're hard. Yes, they're hard on crime because it's not on them. They said be hard on crime because you're going to be harder on the black people young black people that you see, or older black people that you see. Let's be hard on crime. And Democrats are predominantly black are saying we're being persecuted.
Yeah. The brown people are definitely getting, Yeah,
it's a reason why that. So when you say, you know, what people say about Republicans and Democrats in crime, it's a reason for that. All right, let's get to the mayor, right? Mayor Dinkins started Safe Streets.
Safe streets, yeah.
He started that, right? He started community policing. He started block associations where you call in if you got problems on your block.
Yep.
Giuliani had people that worked for him that took that to a certain level. And every year, a new mayor has taken it to a higher level, right? To this point now, community policing is really what police department is about. If you remember, community policing, they didn't even consider a person in community affairs real cops, because they were deputy. Their leaders were deputy commissioners. They didn't have a 3-star chief until Doug Ziegler came on, and they stopped doing the deputy commissioners and made a 3-star chief with community policing, and they brought that back into the precinct, right, as community policing. And now the whole precinct's now about community policing. It's about how do you deal with the public and how do you respect the public. You've got it written on the side of the police cars, but it never meant anything, right? White cops stop you, and they stop you for no reason, because they have the power to do that.
So how do you think? Because I'm trying to find out how do you think the precincts now it's catering to the community, but they're not doing law enforcement.
Oh, they are. They're doing law enforcement. What has happened? Let me tell you something happened. Crime has gone up, shooting, stabbing, and all that going up, right? And we didn't understand what I always thought about stop. It's supposed to be stop, question, and frisk. The police never did question. They stopped, frisk, and put you in jail, right?
Absolutely,
They shot their own self in the foot by not questioning and finding out, why am I really stopping this person? This person have a right to either clear up what you're saying or tell you that what you're saying is not right. A person has a right to do that, right?
Absolutely, I totally agree.
What happens now is that you can't stop a person in the street. And people aren't afraid anymore by carrying guns and knives, because you just can't stop them and frisk them.
So let me ask a question. I mean, I personally, and I'll go on the record and say this: stop, question, and frisk is necessary evil. It was a definite tool. It was utilized wrong. They wanted to stop you and our listening audience and myself, but they didn't stop the dude that was on the corner for 12 hours.
Absolutely.
And so they messed up, and and then all of a sudden you putting paper behind the little innocent brown kid's name or girl's name. And let me tell you something. And the kid would be scared to tell his parents if he was a good kid, and he would forget to pay a fine, a little measly fine, and he get in trouble. And let me tell you something. I know that because factually it could have happened to me because I got caught up in that kind of situation when I was younger and got written up for a fine, open container, and stuff like that. But thank God I was working and stuff like that at the time, and I take my little mad money, and I guess I was smart enough. I'll use that terminology. I hope it fits. And I read the ticket and I paid it fine. I mailed it in, without any repercussions. They came back. But also too, when I became police officer, when I was going for this police officer job, don't get it twisted. It was asked, "Oh, you got this ticket back here, da 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 da." Open container. Do you have a drinking problem and all this kind of nonsense? So listen, they will definitely try to hold it against you and things of that magnitude. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. I got my uncle in the building tonight, Willie Walker, and this is Ask Willie Walker. This is Real Talk with my aunt. Let me read some of these comments out here. She says,
before you do that, let me tell you something about NYPD again. What they're starting to do, and they're going to put into effect pretty soon, is that the community going to have an opportunity to elect their commanders, which will really make a difference.
Let me ask you a question about that, and I'm definitely going to get into that too, because I think Wednesday I'm having somebody on the show that I think was instrumental in being a part of that. So, what do you think about that? That the community can now pick their commanders?
We in this community here have always done it. We've always picked our commanders, but now they want to do it citywide, because that's where you get the best supervisors in the community, people that have worked in the community, people that know the community, and people that will talk to the cops and let them understand it's certain things you can't do here, right? I do sensitivity training for cops, right? And part of sensitivity training is to let them know that they're in a neighborhood that they've never been in their life. And they're going to deal with people that they never had to deal with in their life. And it's a way that you deal with these people. And what you think you want to do, you better think twice before you do it, especially here. So what you find in a lot of communities and precincts, you don't find that in Central Harlem with cops doing that, right? Because they're held accountable to what they do and how they do it. And every community should do that. They should have community leaders that come out and say, no, you're not going to do that here. No, we need this in this community. No, we need that in this community. And when you get that, you stop getting the abuse that you normally get. But one of the things that I'm really upset about is that you don't have black cops challenging white cops. You don't have black cops. You don't have if black cops challenge white cops when they came into the precinct, they'll think twice before they beat up an old man or a young child. They'll think twice before because they
I
know.
think you and I have always talked about that. I
Yeah.
disagree with you on that because the bottom line is, first and foremost, a lot of times you're outnumbered in law enforcement. But first, let me just say this: when I was working, that never happened. So I didn't even have a chance to even say I'm going to challenge somebody. I do know back then that the powers that be, they, like I said, they wrote Al's name and my name on the bathroom wall in the store that only officers use and called us perps with badges. But we took it upon ourselves to go around and ask officers, "Did you do that?" Because not we was going to handle it ourselves.
How
But
many
you know,
precincts
so,
does that happen with? And you know
huh?
what? How many precincts does that, and how many people does that happen with? Because if it
Probably
did,
a lot, a lot.
if it did, right? These white guys wouldn't come into that precinct after they beat up a little kid, after they arrested a little kid, or they beat up on a woman. They wouldn't come into that. If I was in a precinct, I'm damn if they're gonna come up into that precinct after they beat up on a kid or an older woman or a black woman, right? Because they would not allow you to do it if you beat up a white woman. White
I'm not
And
disputing that.
I'm not saying you personally. I'm just saying what I know happened.
No,
I'm
but
not
what I'm
saying
what I'm doing, I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to say, I'm not disputing if, well, like I said, let me just say this: from the officers that I know, the people of color that I know that I worked with, they would have never allowed that.
far and few between.
Absolutely,
Yeah, because I'm talking about
absolutely.
Louis never would have happened. It never would have happened to a white person.
I totally agree with you. But the bottom line is, you're not going to get officers that are really going are going first. Damn near some officers are scared to even speak out about anything.
They
And when you
shouldn't be on
speak
the
out,
job.
you're getting ostracized, huh?
Then they shouldn't be on the job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't have a job, but you're not effective in the job that you got. Right? You're not doing the best that you could do in a job that you're responsible for. So if you're a cop and you're afraid, if you're a cop and you're afraid, that's not a job for you.
Well, we see that all the time when they shooting people of color when they should be fighting them. Like, but and they say I was
Then they
fearful
should
for my.
not, they shouldn't be on the job.
I totally agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that. I'm just saying that a
I'm
lot of
just arguing with
times,
you because you was in law enforcement.
huh?
I'm just arguing with you because you was in law enforcement. Yeah, a detective is a detective. That's why I'm doing this shit.
Well, I used to drive the bus too, so don't get mad at the bus drivers.
I'm mad with them too.
Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forson, with my uncle tonight. The Real Talk family. We just chopping it up. Let me read some of your comments in here. Let me go back to some stuff. Everybody's in here rocking with us. Mike Dean said, listen, it's a waste of time to discuss fashion. People like what they like. The person with the pants hanging, the woman twerking can still do right. Many do. Sometimes we are too judgmental about things that don't matter. So, Mike, you let me ask you a question. You gonna date a woman that you, if you met her in the club, first impression you see her twerking? Is that the girl that you want to make her your woman? Mark said, before you go, ask him what does he think of the first lady of the first day of the trial, the office of Minnesota officer, and what he thinks. They find him. Should they find him guilty? They find him guilty. What do you think about?
They're going to paint Floyd as the worst person that ever lived. But that's what the defense does, right? We got to expect that. We got to expect that they're going to make him the worst person in the world. He had the worst record. He did everything that was wrong to justify his death, right? So they're going to beat up on him, right? That's why it's very hard to look at that. It's very hard to look at a defense attorney because that's his job. His job is to get his man off. Knowing how guilty he is, and it's hard. He got to know he's guilty because he saw it, but he still got to fight for his rights.
Yeah.
Right. So in this, and I hope when people look at that, they understand that he's doing what he needs to do to get his man off, but everybody knows what the guilt is. What we need to look at And what we need to start doing is getting on juries, right? We need to stop ducking juries. We need to get on juries for trials, because a lot of black people, a lot of white people getting away with a lot of shit because there's no blacks on juries. And we got nobody to blame but ourselves. And
a lot of us don't want to do our civic duty. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
and a lot of blacks are going to jail simply because there are no blacks on there to say, no, this not. I understand this process. And you're telling me what he did. I understand that he couldn't have done that, right? And I'm not going to vote for him guilty. So when we start looking at things in a proper perspective, right, we have to say, I have my civil duty is that I got to be on jury duty in order to save my people. Don't duck it.
Absolutely. I don't know, Mark, if you was watching the trial today. The one of the individual martial artists, and the judge didn't want to deem him an expert, but he took his testimony as an expert, and he was very credible in what he was saying and breaking it down. Will Green said, "Hey, my brother, and peace and blessings to Mr. Walker." What's up, Will? Good to see you. Mike said, "For the most part, white people respect law. Penalization works for them. Make a cop have to lose their pensions, and they will act right." Let me ask you a question. What do you think about that? What he said? Do you think cops should like if they do something, lose their pensions and stuff like that?
If they do something and they're guilty for it, yeah, they should lose their pension.
Got you.
And anytime, well, you know what? That's the penal process. The penal process means that you have to pay penalties for the things that you do wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do something wrong and it's a pension is involved, yeah, they should lose their pension.
Right. Yeah. You know what's so funny? I'm not disputing that. I think there are a lot of people that think, and they're talking about law enforcement in their mind, they really think, some of them think they're doing God's work. And I know, and I can only talk about the era that I did law enforcement.
Well, with God's work, be a preacher.
Exactly.
That's God's work.
No, absolutely. But I'm just telling you from the ideology. That's why if you'll see a lot of times, you can see somebody with the skull and the flag mixed up together, or you see them with the red, white, and blue, like they're so patriotic and things of that magnitude. And I always tell people, ain't nobody more patriotic than people of color. We done been brought here, built it, and still can't get the fruits of our labor from it. Crystal said, Derek said, not asking you to try and change it, dude. Just know what's acceptable and what's not. Crystal said, no man is calling me out my name. I definitely, exactly. I agree that we should be making our partners better. Upgrade. Exactly. Crystal said, Crystal replied to Crystal, my goal is to be inspired to be better, hoping I do the same for my partner. Absolutely. Derek said, historically, men have always changed their behavior for a woman. The dam is worth it if she's worth it. We feel in the same way, Crystal said. Audrey, not going to happen. I agree. Anna said, I agree with Uncle 100%. Sharon says, Uncle is dropping a knowledge. You cannot save anyone. It's hard enough trying to change yourself. So forget about trying to change someone else. Absolutely. And we get to a certain age. You got kids at 15, 16 years, their personality is damn near already set. You hear the parents talk about, oh, he just expressing himself. That little bastard is bad. You know what I'm saying?
He expressed himself at 2 years old.
Exactly.
He expressed himself at 2 years old when he didn't listen. And now
exactly.
He's 25 and he's not listening.
And when he was spitting at 6, and you was talking about, oh, it's cute. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kids talking back.
My kids,
I never forget.
When my kid was into biting and they bit me, I bit them back. Right? I didn't bite them bad enough. I didn't bite them bad enough to hurt them, but I bit them to let them know that you don't do this.
Everybody, that's my uncle. He biting little kids. He biting his grandkids. You know what I'm saying?
They bite me, I'm biting them back. Yeah, not to hurt them, but to let them know.
Yeah, definitely, Gary. We said we need more training. Felicia's in the building. What's up, Felicia? How are you? Steph said, "What are Uncle Willie's predictions regarding Derek Chauvin's murder trial? What do you think about that? What do you think his
How did
predictions
he
going to come
know?
out? Huh?
What you with the trial?
Yeah. What do you think his She said, "What do you think the predictions regarding the Derek Chauvin trial is going to be? Like
Well,
guilty, one, second degree murder."
it's good. It has to be guilty. Worldwide opinion that it has to be guilty, right? Look at it, you got to say guilty. There might be some white people on that that said that he deserved it, that he deserved to. He deserved. You could never say what jury is not going to do because so many people have looked at a jury and know that this person is guilty and found them innocent. They found young girls because she was young and a teenager, killed her baby. No, she did, and found her not guilty.
Yeah,
But she
you
was
know what's
white.
so funny? Let me tell you something. Like it just seemed like they're gonna try to make it. I never forget. I lost it. I was in a little private chat group, and then they talked about, oh, maybe this was karma. He getting that. It was like, oh, we're not trying to say that he it was terrible what happened to him, but maybe it was karma for having priors. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, yo, and I said, you were law enforcement. The
I
fact
wouldn't
that
even
you
be
would
on
even
the
say
chat.
that, huh?
Right.
What'd you
I
say?
wouldn't
I
even.
didn't
I
hear you.
wouldn't even listen to that. I said I wouldn't
Well,
even listen to that chat.
oh yeah,
Because that's just, you know what? That's racism, right? And people that they have privilege, right? You, like I said in the very beginning, you got people talking about, I understand black people. You're a lie. You don't understand me. If you're not black, you don't understand anything about me. You may
right.
see certain things, behavior and stuff, and you may look at the behavior because everything is learned behavior, but you don't know me. And no one knows black inner feeling but another black person.
Absolutely. Crystal, you're hilarious. You said women with PhDs twerk. I'm just saying, yeah, well, they ain't twerking over here. Exactly.
Well, you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with them twerking.
Well,
You know that
twerk in the house by
that's what
yourself.
they
Don't twerk. Crystal, are you gonna lobby for women to start twerking? You gonna start a coalition?
But if they want to twerk anywhere in the world, they could do that. But you know what? The same people that twerk on Instagram don't understand that other people that they respect and don't want to see them doing it is looking at it. So it's nothing wrong with twerking, right? But it's what do you want to attract? When you twerk, what do you want to attract? Who do you want to attract, and what is it for?
Absolutely.
What I think people have a right to do it. They have a right to do it.
Absolutely. What's going on, Miss Hargrove? Speak on it. Agree better training and hiring process. Exactly. E doubles in the building. Exactly. Unc Mark is saying. Um, Michael Dean said, "Tell him, Willie, be a preacher." Ivo's in the building. He said, "What's up, Uncle Willie?" James and Knight said, "Yes, Uncle Willie. I've always served on jury duty. White folks know nothing about you and think of course you did something if the police are bringing you charges. I served on the grand jury in narcotics court. We need to be on juries. I was one of four on a jury of 23. Yep, serve when you have exactly. Allison is in the building. She said, "What's up, Unc? What's up, everybody?" That's it. Allison, she's part of the Real Talk family. Every third Monday, Allison is in the building. Everybody. Um, it's so true about James McKnight about serving on the grand jury. I served on the grand jury when I was an active member, and it's so funny once people found out that I was law enforcement and I was in there because I served in Manhattan, and of course, knowing some officers that came in the grand jury, I couldn't vote. They were like, "Oh wow!" So to get to really, I think it's important to understand the voting process, the true bill process, and stuff like that. Especially me being an expert witness in the Bronx, I love court testimony. I just think it's important. I think learning anything about the judicial system is excellent. Um, E double said, I'm running from what he bites. I don't know what you're talking about. Maxine said, I agree. Uncle. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, Uncle. They said they agree with you biting kids.
Tell them I'm about to hurt just to give a lesson.
just give them a little That's it. Yeah, hey, listen. Hey, listen, when you act up is when you get it, little badass kids. You know what I'm saying? Crystal said, I can't understand. Crystal said, I can understand how they think. Let me see, everybody. She said, I can understand how they think. They're doing God's work. If cops come out of slavery, New Age, overseers, and they build slavery on religion, the Bible, the Word of God, we can't be surprised that they think they are doing God's work. Crystal, trust me, I'm telling you, we could talk sidebar, this bar, any bar. I know cops that have definitely thought they do cops. Let me tell you something. I almost slapped the shit out of one day when we was in the car, and he told me, he said, "Yeah, we're here to train to control the community." I said, "Control." I said, "What are you talking about?" But it's the mentality that they're taught with. So it's crazy. Mark said, "Bill, the young brother had a great point from his experience in the arts. It was very interesting. I worked in many cases, nothing like this. But it's funny how Fox is just destroying Floyd, really, and some of the bystanders. If I watch Fox News, I'll probably lose my damn mind, Mark. I'm scared. I'm really scared to watch it. But thank you for keeping the eye on the spook who sat. Be the spook who sat by the door and watch them buffoons. Crystal said, "You know better." Anna, here go Anna. Twerking is great exercise. Well, you keep on for Jeff. Go ahead, you twerk it out. I agree with just playing devil's advocate. I got you, Crystal.
No, it wasn't. The point is that I dislike it. I see too much of it. I see too much of it. I see too much
of it. Yeah. Mike said, I think prospective police should do 2 years of training at least. Miss Hargrove, she said, no one with a serious career would be caught twerking on social media or in public. Save it for the bedroom. Absolutely. I totally agree. Mike, I think officers, first, I always said this, Mike. I said officers should do their regular 6 months of learning the laws and the classes, the curriculum. I think they need three months of hand-to-hand combat, because when you want to deem and justify your actions, you should be able to say, well, wait a minute now, I was trained. I had 3 months of because let me tell you something. I tell people tell me all the time, they was like, oh, I know in law enforcement, you're taught in the academy how to do this. No, I was a black belt before I became a law enforcement officer. Everything that I did was because of what I wanted to do for myself before I became a law enforcement officer. That was my blessings. It's also worked to beneficial for my career. But the thing is, there's a lot of officers, and that's why I'm a big component, of being inner city children, because anybody that lives in the inner city, you were taught not to be a punk by your parents. And think about when we said, Uncle, and I know you know this from coming from Alabama. They say, you better not come home. Somebody told me, don't come home telling me somebody took something from you. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell me somebody beat you up and you ain't fight back. Don't tell me somebody took your lunch money and you did what? You just stood there and did it. So you were taught not to be soft. You understand what I'm saying? Not that you had to be a formal fighter, but not to be soft.
We were taught to give anything we want, but don't let anybody take a penny from you. So I would give you anything I want to give you. But if you want to take something from me, right? We got a battle. You want it? I'm not giving it to you. If you want to take it.
Well, what we say?
I don't take ass.
What's the family motto? Yo, you know, you can come over here if you want to, but you better bring ass
All
to
right.
get ass, right?
Listen. You're not bringing your ass over here and leave yours over there.
All right, you ain't coming to get.
If you bring it over here, I'm getting some.
Let me tell you something. When it's all said and done, we're gonna be puffing and puffing together.
That's right. No, you won't want to fight me tomorrow. After today, you will not want to fight me tomorrow.
Yeah, we gonna all be tired. I got a question. I got text in that somebody said, you know, how do you feel about him on that man's neck for 9 minutes? On George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes. You know, first I'll start it off with this. You know, for that officer to be that demonic, and I say demonic and evil, that he knew that. And Robert, I see you in the building. My brother Robert's in the building, former law enforcement and martial arts brother. Robert, and I want your take on this from a martial arts standpoint too. A martial artist, and Unc, you're a black belt. You know this too. You're a martial artist. We know where to hit, how to strike, pressure points, certain things like that. So, what this slime did to George Floyd, he knew what he was doing. And if anybody doesn't know that, and I'm telling you, we deal with the culpable mental state of this. He intentionally chose and plotted how he was going to hurt that man. Now, do I know if he intentionally meant to kill him? But I damn sure know he wanted to hurt him and prove that. And for 9 minutes, I think he is fair enough to say that he wanted to kill him. What's your take on that,
None of that was about George Floyd. It was about a white man giving a message to black people that I can do this and get away with it. He didn't think he was going to kill him, right? But he wanted to send a message to black people is that I can do this and you can't do nothing about it. I could be on his neck. You could be out there screaming and hollering, taking pictures and shit, and then don't mean a thing. That was a message. And that's why people send messages. And that message, I do this, and I want to see it. If you come up against us again, this can happen to you. So no, I don't think he would. But that's what happened. That's what happened when you do the things you do.
Well, you know what's so funny? I try to tell people, and you know, I go around and I speak to colleges, I speak to kids, high school. Christina knows she's started me off doing speaking stuff at, you know, career day at school. And I always ask the kids, what do they want to be when they grow up? I think by the end of my lecture, I have kids saying they want to be law enforcement if they never said that before. I may get one or two that say that, but the bottom line is what I try to tell people of color, that it's a damn good job. You know what I'm saying? You get a damn good pension, and you know, you get a lot of fruits of your labor. You know what I'm saying? And you know that those licenses. Like I said, I'm FBI certified on a lot of things. I can't knock that, and I think a lot of people get a lot of training that goes on that resume, and it changes your pay scale. So please tell your kids, and everybody understand me what I'm saying is, when we were growing up, depending on your age group, you were taught if something happened to you, find a police officer, he'll help you get home safe, God forbid. Now people say a police officer, if if a kid is acting up, I'm gonna tell a police officer he's gonna take you to jail. Like, you're already putting in a negative over energy in his head. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. I got my uncle in the building. Uncle Willie Walker is in the building, dropping down some bombs, as Mark says. He is dropping down some solid. As Stephanie says, we are pouring tea today, baby. We getting it in. I ask you all, if you like what you're hearing tonight, share it. Subscribe to it if you're on YouTube. Uh, Robert said, "Pardon me, but your guest resembles the late a master Bobby Rivers." Yes, he does. Uh, Gary says, "In the corporate world, we have training every year of policies to remind of even know and updates. We can't police officers have consistent training every year." Well, Gary, they have training, but a training to officers, and any officer that disagrees with me is lying. And I'll say that I can really feel that training is like a vacation. You know what I'm saying? It's like a day off the street. Or to some officers don't want to go because they're going to miss overtime. Because a lot of times the officers, and let me tell you something, the ideology, 5 years, they move up to cop land, cop town. They buy this house that they have to make arrests um to take care, and their wife may not be working, and they have kids, and they have these expensive bills. So what do they have to do? They have to make arrests, and a lot of times people go to units for overtime or advancement. They don't go to the unit. Let me tell you something. Unless if everybody wanted to stay on patrol and get overtime, it's easy. That's people do things for money. You know, nobody does anything because they really like this job. Robert said that was just him showing his dominance. Exactly. Robert said that's right, and I took every department course offered to me. Absolutely, everybody. This is real talk. Listen, I got the Unc. If you got some questions for Unc, let me know, baby. This is real talk. Ask Uncle Willie.
You said something about kids don't want to call the cops because they'll get arrested, right?
What'd you say? You came in choppy. Say it again.
You talk about people kids not want to call the cops because they're going to be arrested. It's your speaker. I'm talking. Did you not hear me? You don't hear me?
Yo, see everybody. What happens when you interview your uncle? Some certain things you got to take on the chin. He gonna talk about his my shit acting up.
No, just,
you coming in choppy, but it's my ears. I got you.
No, I was saying you was talking about kids. Now you're gonna lean it forward again. You was talking about kids.
I want to make sure I get it. I got it.
Kids don't want to call the cops because they'll be arrested, right? Think about the woman that called the cops because she's having problems in her house and her husband get killed. So it's not just the kids not calling cops for support. Adults can't call cops for support.
Well, let me tell you something. I've been on both of those sides too. I've seen the woman getting her ass beat and call the cops, and then when he fights the cops, she jumps in on us, and then she get her ass beat too.
Absolutely.
So I've seen both sides of that. I really have, right. And I've been there, actually been there. So a lot of times
they kill when they shouldn't have gotten killed simply because they call a cop for domestic violence, and a lot of cops have gotten shot recently when they was called for domestic violence, right? That's a hard pill, man, because when you get into people's personal business and they're already heated, you don't know what they will or will not do.
Well, you know what's so funny? Let me ask you a question. Do you think there should be more people of color working in the communities of color? Not because some good white officers, some good Latin officers. I know some good white officers, some good Latin officers. Mm-hmm. But do you think predominantly most of the time that people of color should work in communities of color?
No, I don't. I think if this is a job, you learn how to do it well. You learn. I person should be in a person of color's neighborhood because he of that. I think people, if you're high, listen. I had 3 distinct careers. One of them was computers. I was a programmer, and then I was a manager for a lot of years. Right. I had to be certified every 6 months or so, on computers, right? And I was enabled to do my job well. I think cops should do whatever they have, whatever training they need to get to do their job well. What do you see when you see a white cop constantly shooting and killing black people and shooting and killing them in the back, and you never see a black police officers taking their gun out to shoot anybody? What do you think about that? They don't get separate training. It's the same training. But you got people that have a passion and they're compassionate in their job in dealing with the community. And you have some people that have privilege and feel like I can do whatever I want to do to you and you can't do nothing to me. That's the white cop.
Well, I know one thing. Officers of color have been felt that if you pull that gun out, you better sure damn use it. And we definitely don't feel that you have the privilege to do what white officers that do. Because let me tell you something. I've never been in a situation that I was scared to shoot when I pulled it out. But I know there's white officers that have shot. I don't know them personally. I'm saying we see it in the news today that have got caught into hand-to-hand combat and confrontation with somebody and shot and said they were scared. Now, I've never heard of that in my years of working, that it was all right to be scared. Now, maybe that might have worked for female officers, and I'm not disrespecting any female officers that are listening, but the bottom line is we understand that it is more likely that you may shoot a man because he can overpower you than a man fighting another man. Not that another man can't get overpowered, but the bottom line is it is harder to justify a man shooting another man. But this is what happens in the terminology comes out, oh, he was reaching for my gun. But you know what? There weren't cameras to see that. See, we live in a world now today where cameras show everything. So it's hard to justify that. You know what I'm saying? So,
they don't care. That's defense. Defense is to take you out. I can understand people today not fighting hand to hand because they are not equipped to do that, and they're not good enough to win. That was the time that you fought hand to hand. When it was over, you go your own separate way. Today, and what you see white cops being so afraid that they're afraid to challenge black kids, or black people, period, or black children. They're so evil and so right to kill you that they don't care. How do you shoot a child and try to justify that if you're not evil? And then say this is all right. I was trained, or I thought. You kill a person because you thought. What happened if somebody killed his child because they thought? You know, this is not what life is about, and this is not what officers should do. They should be trained. What they should do is take the guns and train them hand to hand. And how many officers would go hand to hand with anybody? They won't go hand to hand. Very few of them would go hand to hand with anybody.
And right? That's what I said. That's why my credentials are what they are. Yeah.
They don't want to get hit, Bill. It's not really hurting you. They don't want to get hit. They scared to get hit, and they're definitely they're afraid of a black man even if he's dead.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Sheila E in the building. She said, "What's up, Uncle Willie?" She said, "No need." Yeah, Robert said, "No need to learn different cultures anymore." And some are scared. Yo, Robert, I'm gonna have to get you on the show one day. Definitely, I got to get you up on the show in the future, my martial arts brother. Sheila said, "Different mindset." Crystal said, "Congressman Johnson said it clear. It wasn't scared of the white folks on 1-6. They weren't scared of the white folks on 1-6, but had it been blacks, he would have been scared." Exactly. A lot of them stems from their thinking. We will do to them what they don't do to us. Absolutely. During the slavery time and since slavery, they are truly afraid of black men. It's absolutely, and that's why a lot of times I try to give courses on how to interact with law enforcement. I had a person one time doing one of my segments tell me, he says, "Oh, am I telling you telling me that I need to tell my son to be less of a man?" I said, "I'm not telling you to tell your son to be less of a man. What I'm telling your son is to be a smarter man, to understand that there's certain things that he needs to do so he can get home to tell you and let you handle it another way. But the bottom line, if you want to sit there and be confrontational, he's going to lose. When the blue uniform is on and
Mhm.
you're a civilian, they're going to find a way to articulate your loss. And if you don't want to, if he didn't understand that, then that's shame on him. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Foster. I got Uncle Willie in the house tonight. I have Malika Foster behind me. She's listening. She chiming. She's back there. She's just doing what she do. I love her to death. Listen, there's a few other topics I want to talk. First and foremost, we might say some things that you may not like to hear, but you're gonna hear it tonight because it's real talk. First and foremost, let's give a prayers to all the people that have lost some people due to COVID. I understand that we're going to talk about COVID before we leave tonight, the vaccine and stuff like that. But also, let's talk about these acts of domestic terrorism against the Asians, and also that happened in Colorado. Right now I see a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon. And listen, what I'm about to say, everybody, I don't want you to think that I'm talking against Asian people. First and foremost, I see a lot of people jumping on this Asian bandwagon. Me personally, I didn't, and this is no disrespect to my Asian friends that I know rock with Black Lives Matter, and I rock with you. I'm saying this absolutely. I rock with you. But I see a lot of people, stop, Asian hate and stuff like that. I don't know if it's, I saw it on the news. They had not on the news. They had a little town hall about they even going back to the movies where talking about Asian, dang, 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 making jokes and things of that magnitude. What is your take on how the world has galvanized for the Asian community, and a lot of Black people have really spoke up for the Asian community? What's your take on that?
Well, I'm not for anybody being abused, right?
Absolutely.
It's been going on for a long time. They're highlighting now that Asian are being attacked, uh, and I think it takes a lot from what is happening with Black Lives Matter, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm like I said, I'm not in favor of anybody being attacked, right? But that has always happened, and it has always happened, right, in our communities, right? When we talk about prejudice and we talk about people that are prejudiced and people that will do things to you simply because you're Black, we get that lot from Asian community. We get as much prejudice from the Asian community that we do from the white community. And let's keep it real, right? I saw a clip of a woman in China, which had no damn business in China anyway, and they didn't let her in the department store. And she's outside arguing with the man that don't let her in the department store. And a white woman must have been with him, asked her, well, why, what is going on? She said, they won't let me in. The white woman said, oh, well, and walked right in, right? But I never see, and I don't say that it doesn't happen, but if it happened, it must be 1 out of every 100 that I see an Asian fighting or protesting with Blacks because Blacks being mistreated. They do that. I've seen them in restaurants. So, oh man, I like that. I'm not for anybody being in this, especially when you start attacking women and older people. I have a problem with that, right? But how do I march with somebody that never marched with me? How do I support somebody that never supported me, right? Yeah. And I'm saying that it should happen, right? But I see what happened every single day. I've never seen an Asian come out and be a part of what happened with Blacks and what happened with Black problem. What they look at it like, they deserve that. I saw in the museum where they're equating Blacks with apes in museums in China.
Yeah, that was crazy. So there was a commercial. There was a commercial, and I have it. If everybody don't agree with it, I have a commercial where they was talking about a detergent, and an Asian person put a Black person in a washing machine, and he came out an Asian person. They just cleared them of the skin tone. And like you said, yo, listen, what we saying is real talk. If you can't deal with the shit, then listen, this is real talk.
That's
You need to go to some. You need to go to soft talk because this is real
right.
talk. Right? Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying anybody should do this. And I'm really against any violence against another person, right? I'm
Absolutely.
watching this like the first one, right? So I understand this, but I've always fought for black rights, and I've always fought for the underdog. But there is no underdog here. There is no underdog here. These are people that have always been. They have been more privileged here than we are. They are prejudiced, as whites, and they show it, and they have no problem with it.
Well, yep. Like I said, I saw read a post about Malcolm said he said you don't go to a white community and you see people of color with owning a store there. He said, you know, and I can keep going on and on and on. He said, but only Harlem, only black communities where you see a white person own a store, an Asian person own a store. You see everybody own a store in the black community except black people. And it's something that's sad that we have to think about and we have to do better and be more positive. First, and like I said, foremost, we definitely everybody here at the Real Talk Chronicles family denounces any act of violence against anybody, but we just call them a spade a spade.
I like being groomed. I like being groomed. Nails done, getting my feet done and shit. I like that because I like being well groomed.
Exactly.
But before I go to another, get my nails done, my nails would be as long as my feet. I would never give him another dime.
Wow.
And I'm not.
Yeah, I heard it here.
I'm not prejudiced. I'm saying that I'm going to choose where I spend my money.
Right. Everybody, that's Willie Walker. Ask Willie Walker. This is Real Talk Chronicles, everybody. We hope you're enjoying this. It's on. We got about 15 minutes more to go, or maybe 20 minutes more to go. If you got questions, ask Listen, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to it, push the thumb button, like it. If you're on Facebook Live, share it, let somebody know. Keep your boy popping and hot. Let me read some of the comments in the chat. Stephanie, let me see. Delsina said, jump on the bandwagon. I have Asian friends, but what about black people? No one should be abused. We shouldn't accept what was happening to anyone because of their race. Absolutely. You know, it's so funny. It just seemed like that. It just became like, yo, black and Asian solidarity together. And I just don't remember that happening. Like, and I say this with no disrespect, but I say it respectfully that I don't remember any Chinese store having Black Lives Matter signs up in them. And that was crazy to me. So as I bleed and feel so sorry for anybody that gets killed by a domestic terrorist, it's just crazy that I just saw how I'm just wondering for all the people that were putting up, you know, stop Asian hate. Did you have a, you know, stop Black Lives Matter? That's something maybe you need to do a check yourself on. I can't. You know what I'm saying?
In our community, they make money in our community and they came out of the community. Never did anything or support in the community. One Asian person that I actually say did that and does that is Ben Fox.
Yep.
The only person that does this is support black things, anything that's happening in the black community. She give back to the black community. But I have never seen, and there are Chinese restaurants all over Harlem and Chinese selling stuff all over Harlem. I have yet to see one of them put money into a program for children.
Yeah, shout out to Manners in the building. Manners definitely do their thing.
The only one. The only one. And as a matter of fact, I see a lot of black business don't put black money into the community either.
We might have to talk about that too.
And I see a lot of politicians that don't put programs into the community as well.
Yeah, we can get on that. We can get in their ass too. Exactly. Because this is Real Talk Chronicles right now. I got Unc in the building and he breaking it down. And he got my back and I got his back. So say what? What? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Stephanie said, I don't believe in acts of hate against anyone. However, I vividly remember what happened at the nail salon in Brooklyn, and with how we face high disrespect when we patron their establishment. Let me tell you something. Remember when those people working in that nail salon was taking things and beating those black women with
Yeah.
sticks and all that stuff?
And they went
Absolutely.
back they went back to get their nails and they feet done. Because listen, they had to come home and babysit that weekend and they need to have their nails and shit done. That don't make no
Yeah.
sense.
Absolutely. My man on the block radio said no one is for anyone being abused, but how come there's this huge cry for blacks to stand up for Asians, but there's not a cry for whites to stand up? No one cries for Latinos to stand up, and there has never been a cry for Asians to stand up for blacks. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna read that one more time. He said no one is for anyone being abused, but how come there's this huge cry for blacks to stand up for Asians, but there is no cry for whites to stand up? No one cries for Latinos to stand up. And there has never been a cry for Asians to stand up for black. Exactly. That's what we were saying on Block Radio.
Because we're the only one fight. Because we're the only one fight for right. Everybody bandwagon on, everybody else benefit from it more than we do, but we fight for rights.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And people jump on that bandwagon. They jump on that bandwagon and then they benefit more than we do simply because they was a part of it. Or they've not been a part of it and they still benefit more than we do.
Absolutely. Mark said the media is the media is desperately trying to make it seem that blacks are the reason for the hate. Blacks always look for support from other communities. We have no friends, as per John Hendrick Clark. You're right. You know what I'm saying? Desperately trying to make it seem that the blacks are the reason for the hate. You know what is so funny? The media will show an Asian person getting attacked by a person of color. They'll show that time again, but they won't. But doesn't it seem like how quiet it got? The fact that old boy, and like you said, you had the law enforcement officer come out and say he was having a bad day. Okay. Block Radio said we hear the maltreatment of blacks by Asians. Why do we buy Chinese food and their products? That's a good question. I don't know. What if anything is our responsibility? What do you think our responsibility is?
Don't buy when you're not being served. Right? I just told you my nails would be as long as my nails would be as long as my finger before I go back. You know, the point is that we often shop where we're not respected. We often go to places that we're not getting service. Bill, and you know, I'm a big thing on service in wherever I go. Wherever I go, I'm going to be served properly, right? But then we continue to go back. The people that beat women up in Brooklyn, that store is still open. Who's supporting it? Because it's in a black community. And we feel like we can file your own damn nails. Clip your own toenail. Right?
If the pandemic didn't teach you anything like that, then shame on you. Let me say something. Everybody should have been self-maintenance. You know what I'm saying?
They couldn't wait to get in there. They snuck in. It's the nuttiest shit I've ever seen in the world. They snuck in. And you know what? Very few people pay attention to your goddamn toenails anyway. You know, very few people.
Well, especially in the wintertime, if you got your damn socks off, and then, listen, and due to the pandemic, you should have just been loving the one you with. If you out here still fishing for love, spreading diseases and COVID-19 and shit, shame on your dumb ass. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. If you didn't have nobody to love before it happened, shame on your dumb ass.
Oh shit! Mark said, "Where were all these people when black women were being beat down in Asian petty shops?" Exactly. Mark said, "We made Bruce Lee famous back in the '70s, but what have they done for our community? Sell fake hair to our women, took over the hair care industry. Absolutely. Stephanie says she laughing. Uncle Willie got me so weak. Exactly. What's up, Michael Ferguson? Asians have a consciousness. What? Have a consciousness like anyone else, and even though they may not have a consciousness of recognition, we still need to take the high road. Huh? Ain't nobody taking no high road, dog.
No. He needs to take the high road.
I'm gonna finish reading it. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm gonna finish reading it. Yo, Mike.
Okay.
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. Hold on. I'm gonna read it from the top. Hold on. Let me put my glasses on and make sure this shit is right, Mike. You know, because you're taking a real high road with this. Mike, my man Mike Ferguson, he said Asians have a consciousness like anyone else. And even though they may not have a consciousness of recognition, we still need to take the high road. They are immersed into a new environment. It is a new country. Maybe these are some variables. They may impede their ability to be more alert, to acknowledge Black Lives Matter, etc. But regardless, we are all human and we should take the high road. And if we're doing what's right, that energy will protect the universe, changing the consciousness of everyone. Mike, I respect your
First of all, you're not going to change their consciousness, right? Taking the high road is what we always did to get our ass kicked, right? Their point is that they have a country to go to and we don't, right? And they're in this country and more respected than we are, right? Why don't they take the high road, right? And tell Mike to take the high road with them for us, because ain't nobody taking that high road for us.
Yo, Mike, yo, Dr. Mike, I get it. Yo, you want to take the high road? I'm get it. Listen, I tell people all the time, and you know, and you could ask Brian. Brian's just like me.
Well, we're not being insistent, right? We're only talking about what happens, right? And what happened is I've taken the high road and got my ass kicked. I ain't taking the high. I'm kicking ass now. You know, at some point in time, you stop taking the high road because we Black people are expected to take the high road. Turn the other cheek. Christ turn the other cheek. We've been turning that cheek since we read it in the Bible.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not turning any more fucking cheeks.
Somebody hit me. I'm attacking them. Right? I'm not turning the other cheek.
Yeah, Mike, you can see this apple don't fall far from this damn tree. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. Mike Dean said, no one wants to speak about China and their treatment of Africans. Exactly. We speaking about it, Mike Dog. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I mean, Mike Dean, this is Real Talk Chronicles.
Everything that we say and everybody know, right? And you know what? They accept it. They still going to get Chinese food tomorrow.
Be right there talking about exactly. You're right. You know, they make them understand it. Let me ask you a question. Let's talk before we get out of here. We got about 8 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this COVID. We got a lot of people.
Yeah.
Excuse me. 70% of African Americans are not taking a COVID shot. They're still waiting to find out whatever the hell they're waiting for. You took it, right? You took your vaccine.
Right.
What's your thought process on a lot of people, a lot of our people not taking it? What's your thought process?
It's a choice, right? And people don't know why they're not taking it. People talking about, and I heard people talk about, well, I don't trust it because I don't know what's in it. And I asked this girl, I said, what's in aspirins? She didn't know what the hell to say. Do you take aspirin? Yeah, I take aspirin. What's in it? She didn't know what the hell to say. The point is that this isn't the United States. This isn't nationwide. This is worldwide. And in this pandemic, people are dying by not taking it, and people are living because they did take it. You got at least 60 million people have taken it already, right? And 90% of that is to prevent you from getting it. And that don't say that you won't, but it's more likely it prevents you from getting it. So the people choose to say, well, I'm not taking it because I want to wait. I think it's their right, right? I think it's their right. I won't be the one going to their funeral, but somebody will. But the point is that if you love your family and you're not doing everything that you can to live and take care of that, right? Don't tell your family that you love them. I've took the shot. I've taken the shot, right? Both. I got two, right? And the point is, I still wear a mask. And when I come in, man, still quarantined, and I still wash my hand, right? Because this summer I'm having barbecues in my backyard. I just feel it friends to come. And listen, I'm checking the card at the door. Listen, if you haven't had the shot, you can't come. I didn't have to get, but your ass is not coming to hang out if you didn't. But
Yeah, exactly. Listen. The bottom line is, people talk about Tuskegee. I had to tell one person, you don't even know how to spell Tuskegee. You know what I'm saying? So you don't even know the whole facts of Tuskegee. There's some people that are sitting there talking about, and I tell people all the time, listen, I can't. At one point, I was apprehensive. I wasn't going to take it. So I'm not sitting here sounding that I'm going to be the advocate to take the vaccine. Malika and I had to do what we had to do. My uncle, my family, we had to do. I got doctors in my family. I have nurses in my family that gave me intel into what made me change my mind. I say all that to say, especially with everybody having some kind of underlying condition or just age, whatever makes you want to get that vaccine. That's what I did, because the bottom line is the world's going to make you do it again. Let me tell you something. Like Allison said before, and I remember this so eloquently. She said we put things in our bodies without knowing what the hell they were, and we didn't question that. From the seed to the marijuana or whatever, to this kind of alcohol, and certain things impaired and changed altered our personalities, and now you got issues with some governmental thing, and now all of a sudden you want to be righteous and talk about, oh no, I'm not taking it. Like I said, I'm not here to force you. I'm not trying to make you. I'm not trying to change you. I'm just telling you, listen, I see a lot of white people taking this vaccine, and I see a lot of people of color trying to justify why they're not going to take it. But let me tell you something. You had to take a vaccine to go to school if you're a certain age. You're going to have to take a vaccine. The world is going to make you. And we talked about that. Elaborate about the biblical aspect of that.
well, in pandemic, we the Bible talk about right, and just think about that. And when I read that, right, there's a sign that you have to have a car. Now. At one point in time, you're going to have a car to say that I had my vaccination, that I've been vaccinated, right? When people start fitting that, they're going to have to tattoo you to be able to travel. You won't be able to travel. You won't be able to buy anything or go anywhere or do anything with anybody. Right now, they're saying it's volunteer to do that. But they opened up New York, and now they said like 60,000 caught it in a week. So what is this saying, right? They say take the vaccination now. It's volunteer. At some point in time, when people continue to die like they are and getting the virus, and it costs a lot of money to really take care of a person when they get it, right? They're gonna force you to do it. But people don't understand. Even if you do it and you kick it, 30% of your lung capacity is lost in most cases. Can you imagine what that's like if you're young and you got to go for the rest of your life with only 70% of your lung capacity?
Walking up some steps or walking
Right.
periodly.
Trying to. We need to really understand what this is about. And like I said, I'm not an advocate for anybody taking it. I could only speak for me, right? My ass is the only one I'm responsible for. I am not responsible for anybody else, even my daughters. And I tell them what I'm doing. If they want to do it, fine. If they don't want to do it, fine.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna ask you the last question. This is gonna be the last question for you tonight. I hope. Stephanie said,
and they're my daughters.
She said, Stephanie said,
I
Uncle Willie,
don't want
what do you
nobody
think?
giving me shit.
Stephanie said, Uncle Willie, what do you think about the vaccine passport? Like if they make that mandatory, I think you kind of elaborated a little bit on that. That they will eventually make this mandatory for everybody to go. Do you think? I mean, I guess Stephanie, are you asking? Is it fair that they do that or they don't do that? What do you think? You coming in? You got
I
to get
hear
your.
you.
Yo, like my man Darren said, he said, how many people took Viagra without caring what was inside of it? Absolutely, Darren. And how many people still taking
I
Viagra
can.
and Cialis and all them shits? And let me tell you something. Everybody popping
Well,
them
young.
pills and they ain't worried about that long term effect. Go
I
ahead,
can.
You still there? You there? Can you hear me? You. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. I got my uncle hanging out with me tonight. It was just a pleasure. It's just like we were sitting on the park, sitting on a stoop. We'll probably do that up this when the weather is definitely nice again this week. Uh, you got questions? Let me tell you something. I got a good show coming up
I
Wednesday.
can hear you.
You can hear me? You got me now? You back?
Before.
Let me
Yeah.
Stephanie has.
You're going again. You're going.
Yeah, listen. Everybody's telling me
You're
they
coming and
writing
going,
in.
Bill.
Everybody's writing in. They saying it's you. It's not me. So don't try to blame it on me. Yeah. So listen. We're gonna have to step your we're gonna have to step your G's up. You right now you at 3G and a half. We're gonna have to get you to 4 and 5. Let me say. So hold on. Mike Dean said it's your birthday this week. Like Stephanie said, she said, what do you think about them making it about the passport? Can you hear me? Well, like Darren said,
About
you coming in.
the what?
Can you hear me now,
Is he frozen?
You frozen.
Go out
Uncle, I'm gonna remove you. If you can hear me, I'm gonna remove you and come back in. Just request to come right back in. Everybody, this is up. This is Real Talk Chronicles. You know, we had the Unk in the building tonight. Yo, he was kicking it. He's still here.
What about the what?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? You coming in real choppy. Good night, Delcina. I know you got to. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Stephanie said. She said. What do you think about them making the vaccine passport? What do you feel about that?
The vaccine passport.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Basically, of course, you got to show that you had the vaccine before you could travel.
Well, it's going to be like that. You're not going to be able to go anywhere eventually. It's volunteer now, and they're going to make it mandatory because you know what? People are so careless now. They're still partying. They're still doing the same thing they always done until at some point in time, they're going to make it mandatory that you can't travel without showing that you've been vaccinated. And it's bad that they got to make people do that.
Absolutely. My man Darren said, he said, how many people took Viagra and anything without no caring what was inside of it? You're totally right, D. People were worried about the government, but you took no frills, Viagra and Cialis and all these other pills. You took drugs. Some of y'all smoking while we talking right now and sniffing. You know what I'm saying? But some of you out there still sharing weed, you know, with somebody that I don't get it, and you know they haven't been vaccinated. So grow the hell up on that one. Really, that's real talk. Grow the hell up. Before we get out of here, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my uncle in the building. We got Willie Walker. This was Ask Willie Walker. we're going to get him back in the future so he can definitely chop it up with us. Sweetheart, do you have something to say before we let Willie close us out?
I just said I love you both, and I think you should do this more often.
Yeah, to everybody, there's Malik in the back, always working hard, doing what she do. Please give us some positive affirmation before we get out of here. I don't want to hold you. It's it's a 2-hour mark. That's what we do. Give us some love, some positive affirmation. Tell the world something beautiful, man.
All right, listen to this, guy. When people talk about you, you always have to remember one thing. You're just as good as those who think you are, and better than those who think you're not. So take pride in who you are, because you're kings and queens, man. And we need to always remember that. Guys, love your women, because they'll love you back.
Absolutely.
Thank you, nephew. Listen, you're the only one that could get me on here just one-on-one, man. Other than that, we don't do this.
I know. That's a beautiful thing. Everybody, if you don't know, that's who I hang with. A lot of you I rock with, I hang with you in some kind of fashion form. But everybody knows you've been seeing my uncle and I together all the time. There have been a lot of parts that hang with us, but we always together. We're always together. That's
True
my brother.
True love.
I am the son he never had, and he is the father that I'm missing right now. So you know what I'm saying? Right. So it's a beautiful thing, right? So everybody, we love you. Real Talk Chronicles. See you Wednesday. If you like it, share it. Spread some love. Listen, this is the podcast that keeps it 100 all the time, every time. Whether you like what you hear, but we're honest about what we say, right? Everybody, good night. We'll see you in a minute. We'll see you Wednesday.
Later, nephew.
Oof.